Hey guys, Sarah Sheehan here of She Handmade, and today we are going to be making these beautiful recycled plastic bag pendants and charms. They are super simple to make. You make them out of the plastic bags you get at the grocery store when you buy your groceries. You can add little embellishments and any kind of thing you can think of. The sky is the limit with these, truly. Here's another one I made and added a little moon charm too. Super cute. All you need is some plastic bags, some wire, and a source of heat like a candle, and you can turn them into anything you want. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right now. Hey guys, I hope you're excited to get started with making this plastic bag pendant just like this. It's a better close-up of the one I showed earlier, and I will show you how to do this. So before we get into that, we'll go through everything we need. So you are going to need some wire, just depending on how big you want your pendant to be. You're going to want a little bit thicker wire. I don't know the exact gauge of this. I would say it's probably 20 gauge. Somewhere in there, but just a little thicker. It doesn't have to be exact. You'll definitely want something thicker than this. I'm sure that this would work if you like I said before, you could play around with it and pretty much do whatever. I am going to try to make some out of this and see how it turns out, but for now we'll just stick with the normal. So you'll need your wire. You're going to need wire cutters to cut your wire. You're going to need round nose pliers and flat nose or chain nose pliers. I don't know the difference. These are flat. We'll go with that. And you're also going to need your plastic bags. Just a regular shopping bag, grocery bag. You use any color, like I have some brown ones and different white ones, whatever, but you can use any color. You're gonna need scissors to cut that bag. And then you're also, once you get all that, you're gonna have to decide how you want to decorate it. You can use different types of paints. I have some glow-in-the-dark paint and different paint. I just grabbed those for an example. I like to actually use, I have this little tray, Mod Podge, and make my own coloring out of mica powders. I have all these little containers of mica powders, and I'll put a link in the description box of where to get these mica powders. They are just awesome. Like, I am so obsessed. And then if you want it to be sparkly, you can do some different kinds of glitter. And if you want any fibers, I have this merino wool that I dyed, and I can also link where I buy my merino wool. I dye it myself with food coloring and citric acid. So if you guys want to see a video on how to do that, let me know. I also have some other this is a piece of sparkly ribbon that I just separated into these little strands. Here's actually what it was, just silver ribbon like this that I separated into these little fibers for something a little bit sparkly. You're going to also need a paintbrush, or I haven't tried this on there yet. I like to use this on my mica powders and my polymer clay, so I thought, why not try it, right? I also have some little pieces of lace you can add. Really just anything that you want to add, you can add to these, and it just makes them so unique and personal, and just whatever you want. I also have all these little charms. I have some natural stones that have a hole drilled in them for a bead. I got some bigger pendants and some feathers and just all kinds of everything. So, and the most important thing you're going to need that I almost forgot is a candle. So you're going to need a candle, and you're also going to need a little container full of water. Just like this. Plastic does burn, it catches on fire. I've caught it on fire if you're not careful. I learned the hard way. So you will definitely want something with some water in it to dip them in if they happen to flare up, or if you just want to cool them down quicker. So let me get this stuff out of the way and we will get started. Okay guys, first thing we need to do is to cut our plastic bag into strips. You're going to want to lay it out flat. I didn't give myself a ton of room here, but just to save time, fold it in half like this, and then just start cutting. They don't have to be perfect. Always cut the bottom off first. I just cut them into strips. I usually try to go anywhere from inch to inch and a half, but you can do them as thick or thin as you like. I'm not gonna cut a ton, just save time. Okay, but you can cut the whole bag. I actually just cut that for the video today. I have a container full of strips that I've already pre-cut. So you don't have to cut them anymore. You can just leave them in your big loop. Okay, and next you're gonna want to decide how big you want your pendant to be. Like you have like the big bar, like the necklace I was wearing, or you can do a shorter one like this. Just for time purposes, I'm gonna do a shorter one like this. So you'll want to cut your wire. So if you want your pendant to be, say, this long, you're gonna have to factor in the room for the loop you're gonna make at the top, so that's a little bit more, plus the wire wrapping that goes around the edge of the pendant. So I always cut it about 2.5 lengths longer than what I want my finished pendant to be. It's always better to have a little bit more than not enough. So you take your piece of wire and you're gonna wanna make an eye at the top. If you don't know how to do it, I'll try to get closer so you can see. So you're gonna grab your wire with your round nose pliers and bend, sorry, I know I'm getting off camera, bend your wire around. It's hard to do trying to watch the camera screen and at the same time. So you want to bend your wire around like this. Man, I got that one all funky, but it'll work. So you get your loop. Then you want to bend this up a little bit to make it even. You can straighten it out. Usually, if you do this right and pay attention, you don't have all this trouble with it like that. So there's how you get your little loop at the end. Okay, and then you have the option here of, like you can see this one has two, has one on this end and one on this end. So you can always add a charm to one end of it, or you can just have one end have the eye hole on it. So for this one, I am only going to do one loop. So at the bottom, all you'll want to do is decide how long you want your charm to be. I'll make this one pretty small. And then you'll just want to bend your wire just as a guide to how big you're wanting your charm. Plus, this additional wire here is a great handle for while you're wrapping and heating up the plastic. All right, once you have your wire cut, you're going to want to take your strips of plastic and start wrapping this part here where you decided how long you want the charm. You're just going to want to wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap plastic until you get it the thickness that you want. You will have to hold it. Oh, sorry, I keep going off camera. You're going to have to hold the plastic because it will spin to get it on there. So you'll hold the edge of it some. You can make it more build up in the center and taper down at the edges, or however you want to do it. And you, like I said, you can make it as thick as you want. I'm probably just going to put one piece on here for now, but you can wrap as much as you want around it. And another thing, like I just twist it all crazy. See, I was just like twisting, and it's all lumpy, but I like the extra texture in the beads. I know some people prefer a smooth one. If you just make sure you keep your plastic flat as you're wrapping it, it will stay smooth, and then you just, you know, heat it evenly. And you can keep it pretty smooth, but it does take some practice. Like I said, I've only been doing this for a couple of days, so I'm not really, you know, perfect at it yet, but it is a ton of fun. So, okay, once you get that wrapped on there, this is the trickiest part of heating it up because you don't want to burn yourself, but you got to keep that plastic held on there so that you can get it heated and stuck to it. Once you get your piece of wire all wrapped with plastic, you're going to want to grab your candle. Stuff out of the way here. And you're going to want to heat this plastic up enough where this edge is to get it to stick. And you don't have to get it. This plastic melts super easy, so you don't have to stick it right in the flame. Just the warmth off the top will melt it. So you're going to want to heat it and then press it with your finger. Be careful not to burn yourself. You can put on gloves or use your end of your pliers or anything if you're worried about it being too hot. Once you get it stuck on good, you're going to just want to keep rotating it around and heating it up. And that plastic to shrink in. Kind of shape it with your fingers as you go. Try to get this thinner. Once you get it to the shape that you like I think this is pretty, I like the texture. And it looks, I know it still looks like a plastic bag, you know, right now, but it'll, once you start painting it and stuff, you'll never know that it was a piece of plastic. So once you get it to the shape that you like, I'm going to move your candle out of the way. Then you got to decide how you want to decorate it. So I think, I'm trying to think, my last one I did was like gold. We'll do some green, some purple, maybe some of this white iridescent glitter. But you can do whatever colors you'd like. This mica powder, it takes such a tiny amount to color, like, it's crazy. So green is it has a little bit of sparkle to it. It's kind of like a shimmer. This is more of a matte purple color for this one. So I just put, with the mica powders, I put a little bit in my little paint thing here. Then I just take my paintbrush and add a little bit of Mod Podge and mix it up. I just like mixing my own colors. You can make them dark as you want, light as you want. Yeah, this is the gloss Mod Podge, which I like that too because it gives it more of a glassy look to it. I'm gonna rinse my brush out here. Out to the green. Oh, but yeah, you can see just that tiny bit of, I'm getting it all over the place, mica makes a lot of color. I tend to be pretty messy when I'm making things, so this isn't unusual for me. Okay, so then you're just going to want to take your little bead and start painting the colors on. You can run as thick or as thin as you want. I'll show you another fun trick with mica powders if you've never used them before too when we get this done. Like I said, I like a lot of texture. You can make it smoother however you want. I like the lumpy uniqueness of it. Kind of looks like, I don't know how well it's showing up in the camera, but it looks like purple and green tie-dye. So then for the glitter, make sure I'm in here, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on there. Yeah, what I consider a little bit of glitter. You're gonna want to leave this dry, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, I went ahead and paused the video and used my hair dryer to dry this Mod Podge and mica powder on there a little bit faster. So another cool trick I wanted to show you was you could take this mica powder and I'm going to try to use this sponge because that's what I like to use for mica. You could just dip it into the loose powder and get some in there. Sponge might be too big. And you can brush it onto anything really. I love to do this with polymer clay. I'm going to use my finger because the texture of this seems to be catching. But you can just rub it on and it'll kind of stick in the little crevices and cracks and give it a little bit more dimension to your bead. So pretty neat. Okay, now you have to decide if you want to add any other embellishments to this or what you want to do. So I think for this one, I'm going to use a little bit of these silver fibers that I had in the very beginning. And I'm going to wrap one around it here. So what I'm going to do, I already have like plastic or plastic coated freezer paper that I tape to my work table. I'm just going to paint a little bit of Mod Podge on here to make it a little bit sticky. This could have been done before if you let it dry, or before like I used the hair dryer. I just hadn't really decided to put it on there until after it was dry. So you want to just stick that to there. Any loose ends you got, just I dropped my paintbrush in there. I want to brush a little bit more on there just to get them to stick good. Plus, if you did add any mica powder, like for the dimension, the loose powder, this will help seal that in too. Of course, it's going to fight with me. Alright, and you'll want to let that dry again. The little silver, I think it'll just give it another extra wrapping look with the little like tinsel. Alright, once you let that layer dry again, kind of see what you got. Mine is still a tad bit sticky, but we're just going to go with it. Now you need to decide what you want to add to it, if anything. So if you want to add any charms or rocks or crystals or anything like that, now's the time to decide. Hey, maybe just add this feather to mine at the bottom. I'm just going to loop this feather in here. I think maybe. Yeah. So now what you're going to want to do to get that spiral wrap. So if you put 2 eye hooks or loops, I don't know exactly what they're called, on each side, you won't need to string your feather on now. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something a little bit different. If you want to put a charm on it, it is easier to do the 2 loops on each end. Then you have that second end. You can just pop on any charm you want to add. I'll have to, if you guys want to know how to do that, I'm trying to think. So what you do to do the 2 loops, I probably should have showed this earlier. When you decide how big you want your bead, you go ahead and put that loop in, and you still have this tail. Well, you can see here, I wrapped the tail around a couple times. And so I still had that long tail to hold on to while I was making the bead. So that's the difference between that. I decided to not put one on this one because, like I said, I'm still playing around with this too. But so now we are going to start wrapping, and I'm going to try to do this the best I can while making sure that I am on camera. So you're going to want to hold it tight with your pliers. Make sure not to twist that top part too much. It is kind of tricky. And you're going to want to start wrapping your loose end around here. So you get this spiral effect. If you have a bunch of tail, like I seem to have left over this time, you could go back down. I think what I'm going to do, just because I have so much, is slide this little jade stone on here, if my wire will fit through it. I don't think it's going to. No, it is not. Never mind. So we're not going to put that jade stone on there. So I'm just going to go back around and wrap it again here. And when you get to your end, you're going to want to take your round nose pliers. And this is optional. You can cut it off and just tuck it in if you want to. But I think this just gives it a little bit more character. And I like to put a curly Q in the end of my wire. And then you can kind of just lay it on top there like that. So, and there is like a little bit of glue and stuff on the top here. You can pick off or sand off, however you want to do it. I wish I would have got that top part a little bit smoother in the beginning, but you know, it adds to the uniqueness of the bead. So there we have it. And there's our bead we just made. Very galaxy looking. This one looks very galaxy. So that's how you do it. That's how you make a bead or a pendant out of a plastic bag. So if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe below. If there's any other tutorial videos you'd like to see, drop a comment and let me know what that is, and I will be sure to do one. I know this video is kind of out there and crazy. My lighting is off today, but it's gonna get better. I have new lights coming and a new camera coming, which will be great too. So hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.